Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. So we are on verse 17 of only 6. So this is, last one was basically he just said that, wait, I'll go back to 15. 15, he said that, when all the knots in the hearts are destroyed here, while the man is still alive, then the mortal becomes immortal. So we went in detail. This much alone is the instruction of all the Upanishads. So actually समाप्त हो गया था Upanishad वहाँ पे. फिर उन्होंने क्यों कहा more? Because they suppose if I don't reach that higher, मेरा क्या होगा? उस हिसाब से उन्होंने बताया था वो 101 nerve वाला, that they are in the hearts, and then those were the gates to go to different lokas and all that. If your jiva penetrates to the crown of the head, it will go to Brahmaloka and all that. But there also, Krama Mukti, it's not going to happen. There you have to again learn the same knowledge from Brahmaji, Or you might go in higher lokas and then you will reach Brahmaji and all that. Many different scenarios were there, and you can devolve also. So basically, gave a little information. But then, like Tejo Menanji was saying, Yamraj ji thought कि ये कहीं digress ना हो जाए, उसमें फंस ना जाए, because this topic is very interesting one. Once you start discussing about all these nadis and all that, you might just get stuck on this. So he says, no, that's not what the purpose of this question. Your question was. Come back to the original subject. Then he starts same thing. One more time he repeats. And in Bhagavad Gita, you will see how in chapter 18, it's a similar psychology. Krishna Bhagwan is saying, अभी मैंने जो कुछ बताना था, सब बता दिया तुझे, अब जो तुझे करना है तू कर. Suddenly फिर बोला, but, फिर दो चार, it's like our children, when they are going first time to college or something, we start giving them instructions, and jate bhi, and they have to tell, okay, enough. I heard it all. But as a parent, you just don't want to miss anything, and you want to repeat some important stuff, So it's kind of very interesting. That's how you have to look at this one now. So, but then he gives one more example of how to reach that Brahman, which is very amazing in this one. So verse 17 is, Angushta matra purushontaraatma sada jananam hridaye sannivishtaha tvam swacharirat pravruheta munjadi veshikam dhairyena tam vidya shukram amrutam iti. So जब भी ये 2 times repeat होता है ना, और इति बोलते हैं, इसका मतलब सचमुच खत्म हुआ. फिर उसके बाद क्या है, तो उसको बोलते हैं कि श्रुति वाक्य बोलते हैं, कि उसका फल श्रुति उसको बोलते हैं. So that's when we come to it. तो यहाँ पर सचमुच खत्म हुआ. Okay, so let's see the words. Angushta matra. So this has come before. The size of the thumb. Purusha is that Brahman. उसका दूसरा नाम पुरुषा भी है यहाँ पर. Not the Purusha, man and woman, but here when they say Purusha means Brahman. So it is the size of this thumb, and when we go in the actual thing, we will discuss more. Here we are just looking at the words. Antaratma, the inner self. Sada is always. Jananam, of beings. Jananam is beings. Hridaye, in the heart, spiritual heart. Sannivishtaha, seated or dwelling. Tam is him. Swat, one's own. Sharirat, so everybody knows this word, from the body. Pravruhet, draw or separate, usko alag kar dena. Munjat, so ye munja jo hai na, ye ek particular grass hoti hai, munja grass, from the reed and rush grass. And then when I was trying to see कि ये कौन सी grass होती है, so मैंने उसको थोड़ा Google किया उसको. And right outside in my backyard, piche, this grass is there, at least on the picture. It has this, some kind of flower that comes, very soft flower, long, tall grass it is. At least from there I got this. So, in those days also they knew it's the same things. My God, it's so amazing. Even now we have this munja grass. Eva is like Ishikam is the central stalk in it. And soft stalk is there, pith, they call it in English. Dhairyena, ye dhairya word se bana hai, steadiness and perseverance. Tam is him, Vidyat, should know. Shukram, pure. Amrutat, everybody knows Amruta, immortal. Tam is him, Vidyat, no, it's a repeat. Shukram, pure, Amrutam, immortal. Do bar repeat kiya. Iti means thus. Iti means end of this Upanishad. So Yamraji is telling over here, don't forget the main topic. And whatever I had talked about earlier, the Angushtamatra Purusha, we have already seen in detail. So just to remind you that actually Atma is all pervading. But just to give us a little adhar to meditate, it said you can imagine it as like a, Angushtamatra means at the shape of a thumb in our heart, in the center of our body. We can just to help us. Okay? But actually it is a Purna Paramatma. When they say Purusha means Purnata. So we just understand that why they said it, because some people get stuck at that. Oh, Atma is just a little thumb-like thing in your body. No. It is all pervading. It's more subtle. And then it over here it says, Sada Jananam Hridaye Sannivishta, always there in the heart of all beings. And now you saw that Krishna Bhagwan is how it is matching. He's showing in how the Paramatma is in everything, in the Vibhuti of Paramatma. And then this, the last part over here says that Tam Vidya Shukram Amrutam Iti. This same thing has come earlier also, that understand the Paramatma Tattva is pure, and it is pure means it can be bright and pure, all those things together, pure consciousness and immortal, Amrutatvam. Both the qualities are there, purity and immortality in it. And it is twice said, and we already mentioned that that means completion. But there is one more thing in between, very, very important, that he gave another angle how to reach that Paramatma. Like the bolte hain na, last instruction bhi de diya yahan pe. So he's saying that even though in detail the whole Upanishad is how to reach that Paramatma is given, but this example is a very interesting one. So it's talking about this grass that uske center mein wo stalk hota hai aur upar se sirf coverings hoti hai uski itni sari, right? So same way that Atma Tattva as though got entangled in what? Body, mind, prana, sthul sharira, sukshma sharira, usme, and so usko separate karo tum. So vibhuti is one way to kind of separate it, very kind of early way, but separate, which is what is Atma and Anatma Vivek we need, right? That is the Sukshma Buddhi that is required. And why they gave this Munja grass ka example, because jo uska stalk hota hai na, it seems that it is a very tender and sweet. And it seems that people use in Ayurvedic medicine for a lot of different ailments, uska andar wala stalk. So bahar ka jo hai na, wo bada rough sa hota hai sab kuch, and it's supposed to be very sharp. So when you are trying to separate it, you can cut yourself also, it looks like. That's why you need you have to do it very slowly, carefully, remove all the layers, then you will reach that stalk. So some skill is required. Patience is required. So dhairya naam bola wahan pe. Because that's where that stalk is kind of example of the Anandatma, because koi sweet cheese mile end mein, so you feel so happy. There's a lot of different ways you can look at it. So यहाँ पर क्या बोला है कि जो पंच क्या बोलते हैं कोशास जिसको बोलते हैं ना, अन्नमय कोश, प्राणमय कोश, मनोमय, आनंदमय, and all that, विज्ञानमय. These koshas are just like the same covering of that in that grass. Such a beautiful example. And so जैसे वो ग्रास में से तुम उसका पित्त निकालोगे, वैसे ही तुम उसी धैर्यता से with same patience you and then what kind of things you will be doing, the vivek vairagya and all that, uski help se separate kar do usko. So that's what it is. This verse, it's very, very interesting. So the whole sequence was that, Brahma Vidya topic was over, but then he came back again to say that, hey, if I don't get it, then what are the things? Nadis ke bare mein bola. Then he said, don't forget main topic. Then he came back to this verse. So that's what it is. Very simple one, but still very nice example. Any question? Comment? So your quietness means you got it. We all got it. Okay. Any volunteers to read?
Didn't get it, money, but still thinking about it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Niluji, you can read. And I think that these things are such that until we get that final experience, we have to continue reading and all that. And either you can repeat the same. Each one has the power to give you that final experience. And if we didn't get it, we can go back and study it again. Or there are so many other Upanishads. They're talking about the same thing. We'll take another angle. So पता नहीं कौन सा angle तुमको भा जाए. These Rishi Munis were so clever. अच्छा ये नहीं है तो ऐसा, ये नहीं है तो वो. किसी भी तरह पहुंचो वहाँ पे. So they don't want to give up, for sure.
I can read, Ramaji.
Oh, I think Niluji was going to read it.
No, let him, because he hardly reads. So, yeah.
Okay. You guys hash it out.
No.
Okay. Nareshji, you can read.
The Purusha of the size of a thumb, the inner self, is ever seated in the heart of all living beings. One should draw him out from one's own body with steadiness, as one draws the pith, the central stalk from a reed, rush grass. Know him as pure and immortal. Yes, know him as pure, the immortal. We have already discussed in the earlier mantras the concept of supreme reality as a mere presence in the shape of one's own thumb residing in the center of one's heart. We noted that the size and the shape have been given to the self to facilitate our meditations during the earlier stages of the path of Dhyan. In fact, the Atman is formless, although here the self is described as having a shape and a form. This is only for the purpose of providing the seekers with a prop for their mind and meditation to concentrate upon.
So this is, now that you have done this Upanishad, then all of us should know this very clearly, because I have seen some comments and all that. Oh, Atma is just, a small thing in like a thumb in, but, you require a little sukshma buddhi to analyze this, that actually they are just giving you as a prop. It's not like limited to this size and all that. So everybody should know in this class what they're talking about. Yeah.
It's quite appropriate that Lord Death should conclude his declaration of the Upanishads to his disciple Nachiketa with a direct call upon him to continue his meditation and discriminate the real divine presence in the center of the center from the unreal concentric coding of matter, which is the spirit has seemingly put on to play its game of hide and seek. Beyond the 5 koshas, sheaths, lies the spirit.
So there are, whichever way you want to look at it. Here, Swamiji used a little poetic language. कि भाई, hide and seek. उसको छुपा दिया जैसे कि वहाँ पे, There's so many stories out there of Drishtant and all that, that Bhagavan wanted to make the game very kind of interesting. तो अपने आप को सबसे भीतर जाके छुपा दिया आदमी में. And we are like crazy looking outside. That famous Dristant is there, that these 2 people were traveling in the train. and one guy was very rich businessman. He had all these, he could just, his aura was he has a lot of money. And the चोर बैठा था वहां पे, बोला सो जाएगा ना फिर मैं ये इसकी चोरी करूंगा इसके पैसे की. तो 2 रात बीत गई और वो उसको मिला नहीं पैसा. तो फाइनली उसने उसको पूछा उतरने के पहले कि भाई कहाँ पर छुपाता है तू अपना रात को पैसा, तो बोले तेरे जेब में. बिकॉज उसने चोर के जेब में डाल देता था वो पैसे, बिकॉज ही विल नेवर लुक ओवर देयर. So that's exactly what is a hide and seek. So where is God? Where is God? Hey, I'm in you. But then how to recognize him? So he's saying that, remove all the koshas, keep removing, go deeper inside. Meditation ka bhi purpose wahi hai. Yeah, I'm not the body, I'm not this mind, I am that witness, and so many different ways. Now we know.
The analogy employed here to show how through discrimination one reaches the final state of the self. Cognizing the self is true to the style of Upanishads, most emphatic and voluminously self-expressive. Nachiketa, and through Nachiketa, the entire world of seekers is advised to extricate the element of absolute consciousness, the pure sit essence, from the delusory consciousness of the body by continuous and deep practices of discrimination and meditation.
So it's called the pure chit essence. When they do the transliteration, they call it, they have their own rules. So if I was to write, and I would say CHIT, but because they have their own way of doing this, that's why it says CIT. They're talking about chit, Sat Chit Anand Wala Chit. So he's just saying that how, Upanishad in a like very forceful manner and very self-expressive, in the end, the final teaching of this is telling Nachiketa, but through Nachiketa telling all of us that, extricate, I can't even say that word properly. Extricate that element of absolute consciousness, that chit essence from this delusory consciousness of the body. So that's what it is, that it is there, all the body, mind, intellect, and unfortunately there's a part of the changing, apara prakriti, So for how to pull it out from there, that's one way of expressing it, or how to recognize it. That's called self-realization, yeah.
That during meditation one should not, in the least, strain oneself is so vividly brought out by the analogy of drawing out the pith from the reed. The reed itself is the most delicate of plants, and its stalk is more so. And to draw out this flimsy and supple pith from the outer envelopments constituted of the stalks of the leaves themselves is a delicate act which needs a softness of touch, a measured and practiced application of force, and a subtle, silky deftness in handling the entire process.
So Swamiji kind of used his own poetic language, softness of touch, measured and practiced application of force. So you need that also. So it's saying just how it's skillful. And that's why they have this, in Bhagavad Gita, they said, yoga karma su kaushala, meaning yoga means dexterity in action. Means you do the action in such a way that you reach higher, dexterity, skill. Yeah. So that sansar ka bhi kalyan ho jaye, tum bhi aage badh jao. Something like that, The measured practice and application of force and subtle silky deftness. Softness bhi chahiye. Yeah.
Pure consciousness, that is the controller and the director of all physical, mental, and intellectual activities in a human being, is the soul or the Atma. Upanishad concludes with the repeated assertion that we must know him to be pure and immortal. He is pure in the sense that impurities of the mind as kama, desires, krodha, anger, lobha, avarice, and so on, are not in him. He is immortal in as much as he is the eternal, unborn truth, all-pervading, and the uncaused cause of all effects seen in his manifestations.
So Swamiji gave all the pointers for, meditation. He said that pure consciousness is the controller and the director of all physical, mental, and intellectual activities. Without that, without electricity, the equipments are nothing. Same way, without Atman, we are nothing in a human being. And is the soul or the Atman. And the Upanishad concludes with a repeated assertion that we must know him as a pure and immortal. That's another thing, that even though Bhagwan is in everything, and without that, but it itself is pure and immortal. Immortal is eternal, because all this world we see constant death of everything. Not just ourselves, but things deteriorating and finishing and all that. But that source is eternal. And then also that all the mind का जो, when you say भगवान सब में है, तो बोले कि वो इसका मतलब क्रोध भी भगवान है और anger or desire. No, that's not. That pure Atman, none of this is there. So that's what it is. And then we saw that how the world is like a vibhuti, but by wrong actions and wrong activity of the humans, it gets contaminated, everything on this earth. So that's what we have to remember. So it's the eternal, unborn truth, all pervading. All these are like things that to remember. And another very important, uncaused cause. That is a very powerful thing, because cause hunting. Like Swamiji used to say, it's a pastime of human beings to find cause. ये क्यों हुआ? क्यों, क्या, कब, यही हम लोग पूछते थे. न्यूज़ में भी यही ढूंढते रहते हैं. लेकिन a point will come, you will have to reach that uncaused cause. That is Bhagwan. And the effects, what you see is his manifestation. Whatever you see, it is him only coming in a different way. So we have two more verses, but go ahead.
I was going to say the uncaused cause, because we look for cause for ourselves also.
Yes.
And ultimately we go to the uncaused cause is Brahman. And in Geeta also we said the seed. So I thought there was similarity in the two that we read today.
Yep.
He's the seed of everything. So both of them.
Eternal seed, right?
Eternal
seed.
That's what I mean. The eternal seed and this one uncaused cause. They're the same thing, I mean, I looked at it, in doing those two today.
Right. So true. And that's what I was saying, that in some ways, we were doing these two things, and every time whatever we learned, it kind of complemented the thing, and it made it more deeper, because you're studying it together. Truly. Yes. Yeah.
And you talk about the grass, if you slowly take it out, there's the white part underneath it. And if you taste it, it's very sweet.
Oh, you have done it?
I mean, I don't know what that is called, but I used to sit outside, when we were studying and everything, and I would slowly pick up.
Oh, really? So you
get the white part, and it was so sweet.
That's exactly what they're talking about then.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
And when they talked about this, and I said, yeah, I've tasted it.
Unbelievable.
Kush?
Huh?
Is that rush grass called kush?
It's called munja grass, and I think that if you put in Google munja, it will give you the botanical name, and then gave pictures and all that. And I saw that same thing, and it said it is tall grass. It's not like the grass, the other ones that we have it in our lawn. No, this is.
Maybe I'm wrong.
No, but that example can be for other grasses. Yeah, this one was if it is the true one, I'm not sure, maybe we'll ask some other Swami when we meet them what they're talking about, but at least whatever search I did, but, we never kind of opened it. But
I think it also looks exactly like rush grass.
Say that again?
Kush also looks exactly.
Yeah, so maybe it could be the same thing. I'm not sure. Yeah. But यहाँ पर जो संस्कृत नाम दिया है उसको मुंजा बोला है. It's possible that it has another name like Kush. Yeah. And the same thing, maybe वो love Kush का नाम भी उधर से आया था, grass से आया था.
Yeah. That is where it's coming from.
Yes. And then it said that it is used in making baskets, that munja grass, because उसका जो outer layer होता है ना वो बड़ा उससे, and then अंदर का वो जो soft sweet है ना वो सब आयुर्वेदिक medicine में काम आता है. उसकी lot of ailments can be cleared with it and all that.
And didn't Bhagwan Krishna say that we should be sitting on the kush grass for meditation?
Yeah, so he said that, but Swamiji was very he said that just because Krishna Bhagwan said, now don't start looking for kusha grass, and if you can't find it, then don't say that I don't know how to meditate. Or, so he said for us, a blanket will do, and then he gave the reason, because that when you have that kusha grass ka thing, if you sweat or something, you will not feel all that. So, a cotton blanket will be the best one, and, things like that. So he just said that time and space ke hisab se you can definitely make an adjustment. And if you cannot sit on the floor, you can meditate on the chair, and all that. And whatever Geeta ji was talking about, that is for the people who are like early stages of meditation. When you really need to create that atmosphere, it's like when you are trying to learn, a baby's trying to learn swimming, they will put all kind of protective thing around it so that it doesn't drown, something like that. But once somebody becomes a master of meditation, even if he's sitting on thorns, he might be able to meditate, So, but so we have to keep all that things in mind. True. So this kusha grass looks like, or the munja grass is very important in all the examples. But I just get amazed that, the kind of example they give is so appropriate and all that, And even I don't think, have we come across, I think we have already come across that one verse in Bhagavad Gita when he said, we have, that you live like a lotus, where that वो कीचड़ में से निकलता है, मगर एकदम उसका जो पत्ते होते हैं उसमें पानी बिल्कुल नहीं ठहरता है. I don't know if anybody has done the experiment. That if you, because when I was in India some years ago, I said, that example is in Bhagavad Gita. I want to see it. I actually took that patta, because there was India mein lotus so bahut mil jate hain. You go to the rice season. And when you put the water in it, it doesn't stick to it at all. It stays like a ball, that water. And it just slides off and jara sa hila ki boom. But if other pattas are not like that, it is that particular patta, it is like that. So the examples are so amazing. The science behind it, they knew everything,
But that's the way they want you to live.
Yeah.
In the world. The world is such. And that's the way you want.
Because otherwise we keep saying, oh, how can I be so good? Because the world is so bad.
Yeah.
If I be good, then people are going to chew me up.
Yeah.
So they're not telling you to be Buddhu, obviously. They're not saying that let everybody walk all over you or anything like that. But, keep your values. That's what he's telling you. Yeah.
Actually, the lotus flower, when it grows in the lakes, if you see it there, there is no water on the leaves.
Kichad.
Water is there on the leaf, is more like a bubble. But the petals of the flowers are absolutely pure there.
Pure, clean, right? Nothing, no dirt or nothing stays on it for some reason.
Nothing stays on it.
Right. So कीचड़ से निकला लेकिन सबसे सुंदर ऐसे खुला हुआ है. So that's a world, okay, there are a lot of, even we are born and all that, everything is not very kosher, but you live like that, even though you have come out of there. That's the whole analogy,
Umaji, a lot of the poets have referred to the kamal with the water on it as pearls of water.
Yep, because of that probably.
Many times they have described it as kamal ke upar pani ke moti.
Right, वो मोती जैसे दिखता है, exactly like a ball. And if the sun is shining on it, it will look like almost diamonds. It will look like. Yeah.
Isn't there an example in Geeta of this, that you should be detached, like the kamal is detached from water?
Same thing. I mean, that particular verse, you can expand it 100%, all those things. So, that's the beauty of the verses. There's so much depth to it, and it can be looked at so many different angles. I remember my dad used to say, I didn't know much about Geeta in all those days, but I don't know if he studied or not, but he said, there will be so many versions of Geeta when you read, and all of them are correct. That's what he made. I still remember his statement. So it's from that, because the depth is there, and you can So what you're saying, Joe, that can be applied to it for sure too.
Yeah, I have heard it. I didn't know कि ये गीता का reference है, लेकिन मैंने भी कई बार सुना है कि वो कहते, my mother especially used to say कि वो तो इतनी मतलब ऊंची आत्मा है कि वो ऐसे रहती है जैसे जल में कमल का पत्ता.
हाँ, ये बिल्कुल गीता का, yes.
So I didn't know that this was from the Gita.
Yeah, I will send that verse. Most likely, I think we have already done it, but I don't know. I don't remember now exactly which verse. I mean, I think it was in chapter 4. But I'll pull it out and I'll send it for our revision. Because sometimes we have already done it, but we even forgot, And there was other example that I was doing it in the class in Chinmaya Mission with the 10th grade. That's why I remember it. It was about the tortoise. And it's that, 5 limbs it has. And it says that how to live in this world, that how live like a tortoise. If those limbs are compared to the senses of us. And उसके limbs कितने होते हैं? Actually 6 होते हैं. 4 पाँव हो गए. I mean 4 legs of a tortoise. Then you have a head and you have a tail. So 5 इंद्रिया और मन. 5 को ना fold कर लो अंदर. Danger दिखे तो. If you think that your indriyas are going to run after something, become a tortoise and pull everything, and then you will be protected in the shell. क्या brilliant example दिया है उन्होंने. How these Mahatmas live in this world, because they also have senses, and the senses are extremely powerful. We cannot undermine, because ये भगवान की माया बोलते हैं ना. It says my Maya, he said to Arjuna. ये मेरी माया है. तो वो भगवान की चीजें इसलिए बड़ी powerful. Game भी बड़ा powerful है उनका. So उसको undermine मत करो.
I found that quote. It says Bhagavad Gita 5.10. Those who dedicate their action to God, abandoning all attachment, remain untouched by sin, just as lotus leaf and untouched by water.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, nice.
Now, I can find anything between Chat, GPT and Google. So,
See that
very quickly.
Yeah.
very good. Yeah, it's like right at your fingertips.
So I think that as far as information or translation or this or that, there is an overload of it. There is no shortage of it. So nobody can say, oh, I don't know how to study it, because even if you don't have anything, you can make a Google your guru and this, what is that called? GPT.
Chat GPT. They are competing now.
Yes. So that one. But
This morning, CBS News, Microsoft came and they talked about that, in the early morning news.
because now it's a new thing, everybody gets fascinated and it's more and more advanced and all that. But the main thing is, do we retain it, and do we have a sukshma buddhi, subtle intellect to make it, that value ours. Otherwise, you read and it goes over the head.
No, main thing is the inner engineering course of Sadguru,
Yeah.
which is you pick from your intelligence, which is above your information, which is available materially.
Yeah. Because, if you think about it, information से mind tired भी हो जाता है. Don't you think like that? कितना कोई पढ़ेगा, कितना कोई करेगा. It's like, और especially अपने शास्त्रों में तो कोई limit ही नहीं है.
Information overload.
हाँ. वो ऑलरेडी हो चुका था पहले. अभी हम लोग को लगता है Google is also information overload. And it was like, there was this Russian person, long time ago I had a conversation with this Russian person. So that person said that I came from Russia, and when I first went to the grocery store in America and I wanted to buy some shampoo, and he's saying मेरी तो आंखें फट गई कि पूरा आयल शैम्पू का था. And I got so confused कि मैं क्या लूँ, एक कंपनी का भी 10 different. And it's like I'm just standing, I couldn't even make that decision. And in my country there was like one thing. You just go and buy and then you're done with. Here, it's like buying a car. There are so many models. Firstly, so many companies, so many models. You waste so much time, actually. Think about it. So much time. Just the worldly stuff, because we have made it so complicated. So information, oh my God. And now, the new generation, we immediately say, Mom, have you seen the review? Chahe doctor ho, chahe, koi cheese kharidni hai, have you seen the review? And then finally, they only came and told me, I think they are rigging all these reviews now. Means they are just making it up and they tell their friends to do it. And koi negative hoega to usko nikalne ki bhi kala hogi. I'm not sure.
There is another site that reviews the reviews.
Oh.
And that tells you which are false and which are not false.
And किसी ने मुझे बोला कि they have a guru review also, giving stars to the guru कि 5 star है कि 4 star है. Guru hunting.
Which site is that?
Huh?
I'm asking.
I don't remember the name, but I'll find it and I'll email it to you.
All right, thank you. Or put it on the chat.
Oh, okay.
So in the end, it's like you have to go back to our intuition. That's how I feel. Hey, why did you choose this? Somehow intuitively I felt this might be okay. And just leave it. With the doctors also, I started doing that. Firstly, we Bharat and I don't go too many to the doctor, but once in a while, blue moon, if we have to go, I say, review se main pagal ho jaun. So I just let say a prayer and say, jo bhi hai, theek hai, and then just hope. Or sometimes, somebody say recommend a doctor and you think that it's such a great doctor and you tell your friend, like one time the friend said, कितना खराब doctor था वो. तो पहले ही मैं वो disclaimer बोल देती हूँ, hey, I'm recommending, but I don't know whether you will get along with him or you will like him or not. That's between you and the doctor now.
You should put a line there. Try him at your own risk.
Yes, I like that. और इंडिया में लोग संबंध करवाते हैं ना, उसमें भी आजकल डिस्क्लेमर देना पड़ता है. Yeah, कि भैया ये recommending this for your daughter, this boy, this girl and all that, आजकल किसी का पता नहीं चलता है कि कौन क्या है. You don't know what your own children are doing after a while. Well, how you can go say that about other person, True. Okay, so I'll close the Bhagavad Gita, Upanishad, and then we can continue if there is anything. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramaya, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.